What is going on, guys? Good Lord. I guess I need a Chromebook with that 8-second boot speed that it has, because soon as I went to start my laptop to move over to the COVID-19 donation stream, it was like, we're going to run 6,000 updates, and we're going to just sit here for 20 minutes. So, with that said, I hope you guys can hear me. I'm watching the stream on my phone. So if somebody wants to just confirm. There, everything went up. Okay, good. People can hear me. Good. All right. I'm going to step away for one more moment to go shut the laptop off, and then I will be right back. All right, guys. It is so weird to not have my headset on. I said I would start at 9. A lot of you have shown up early, so appreciate that. Let's see. The Battlehawks. Did I really not fix it? Oh, look at that. I wonder if it'll let me back out and we'll fix it. I guess you guys are enjoying that drumming right now. There's a simple fix. There we go. Should be all better. And the drumming intensifies and stops. They need to have more more variety of drums, I would think. All right, so I guess we'll get started just a little bit early. So if you guys have any questions, I will field them for a little bit, and then we'll get to some gameplay here. I do not think EA will go out of business, Vincent. No. EA is far too big of a company. They have far too many resources and far too many products. Rosters, Chris Carter, are not all the way done, but there's enough there. Is this really an XFL game? DMH Miami 305? No, it's not. It's just custom teams in Doug Flutie's Maximum Football. Do I prefer NFL 2K5 or All Pro Football 2K8? You guys are going too fast with these questions, Dan. I prefer both games. I don't really have a favorite. I like the NFL aspect of 2K5, but I think All-Pro Football plays a little bit better. Yes, I made these teams myself. Blackjack, you cannot download anything on this game. When will we get more of the Maryland Mingos content? It's ready. It'll be uploaded. I was going to shoot for every Wednesday, but, I mean, there's so many things happening with the community right now. It's hard to limit myself to 2 videos in a day sometimes. So we'll go from there. But they are definitely already shot, recorded, and will be coming to you guys. Madden was running a free weekend. I heard that. I don't know anything else about it. I want to thank Johnny Green III for donating $3. That's fantastic. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate anybody that donates tonight. Yes, I mean, whatever is going to happen in the XFL, I certainly hate to see it for both leagues. Do I like the control scheme? Matt, you're going to need to be a little bit more specific. Brock, that's too much information. Blackjack, I actually used, if you guys want to search on YouTube, there's a guy that does some walkthroughs on the logos. I took his concepts and applied it, and because my DC Defenders logo just a little bit different, but I was really impressed with some of the work that people have done. All right, well, H Street, at the end of this stream, there's going to be a game key for Xbox and PlayStation 4, so anybody that doesn't have the game, stick around and you can get the game. It's going to happen for 2 people, believe it or not. Johnny Green, do you have time to play any online? I don't, man. Thankfully, I have people in the community that send me some All-Pro football footage, but maybe I'll get my PS3 out sometimes and we'll get it taken care of. How have you still not gotten unemployment? Jake, I'm actually essential personnel, so I've been working, buddy. Do you like the control stream for Maximum Football? Yes and no, Matt. I like the freedom of movement you have in this game. I think, as we talked about in a video not too long ago, that the button mapping needs to be more direct for the user when it comes to intercepting, deflecting, things along those lines. It would be cool if you could add custom logos. I'm sure they're going to do more with customization in this game. Gloves and cleats need, I hate to say this, it just sounds horrible, but, gloves and cleats need to be primary right now. Right now, every player wearing the same gloves and cleats is very repetitive. I say that for a game that allows you to choose visor colors, so take that for what it's worth. Do I think Madden 21 will get better with the deal ending, Christian? I'm assuming you're meaning the NFL exclusivity. I don't know. I don't think Madden is going to get better until they completely rebuild from the ground up, and I don't know if that will ever happen. I want to thank Anonymous for donating $20, and Cali Kid for donating $5. Again, really appreciate both of you guys. If somebody wants to type who they were in the chat as Anonymous, I will. I'll definitely thank you. I'm in Maryland, Jake. Benitz, how you can donate? I believe there's a link right below the video that says donate. And anyone that donates, again, Google and YouTube are going to match the donations tonight. As far as the restrictions on this, since now we are officially when I was going to start. So YouTube and Google are going to match out here. Didn't expect nearly that many. I want to thank Canuck Play for giving me game keys for both PlayStation and Xbox, which we'll give away toward the end of this video. If you're just starting, we already have some donations that came in, so appreciate everybody that has donated already, from Johnny to Cali Kid to Anonymous, and we will continue to do kind of a little bit of Q&A here, and then we'll get into some gameplay and try to run this probably for about 45 minutes to an hour. So let me take a look here. I've got caught up to Golden Warrior. Will this ever come to Australia? I know that they're looking to put this game out internationally at some point. Obviously it's went through a couple different iterations initially, just as a game on Steam, and then obviously transferring over to consoles. So I'm sure anywhere there's support, they will find it. It just may be a while, since what I've seen with Canuck is They set their mind on what they want to do, and then they do everything they can and put everyone in place to execute that to the fullest of their potential. So, it may just be it has to come on the list of priorities to get there. So, Max Stockdale, do you think the XFL would have survived? It's tough to say. Part of me wants to say yes. Obviously, this is the whole virus that we've been dealing with has been something no one ever planned or expected. So when you kind of have the perfect storm like that to impact a league, in the way we've seen other leagues be impacted, they could have never forecasted for it. So how they went from so quickly suspending operations to firing Oliver Luck to suspending everything and really going bankrupt was so quick and abrupt. It was really shocking for me. I didn't expect them to be prepared for this, but I expected them to last longer than they did. So I would say, though, if you could go back and not have this happen, I don't see any reason why they would have not been able to continue. Your typical lunatic. Do I think Madden 21 will be better than Madden 20? And if I sound a little off, guys, I've been sick all day, so apologize if I sound a little different. I'm also in a different room, so that probably doesn't hurt, or doesn't rather help. Will Madden 21 be better than Madden 20? I don't think so. I think when you look at it as a whole, to be as honest as possible, we know EA's excuses in the past have been short dev cycles and transitioning to a new generation of consoles. Those are things that they're both getting pushed into this year as they have to transition to another console. And obviously, like we just talked about with the virus, they're looking at a much shorter dev cycle. So for any expectation that this game is going to take huge leaps, it's just not reasonable. And some of that isn't their fault, like we just talked about with the XFL, going under. Some of that's not their fault, but at the same time, they have continued to not put out a solid product. And obviously, if they had, I think people would expect a game to be less complete this year than normal. So in a way, they put themselves in a corner by doing that. Will this game get better with Unity helping fund it, Nick? Well, it certainly can't hurt it, Hopefully, during the gameplay, we'll see some of the issues, at least with the replay, that I think we're going to know were resolved in going up. I guess the only thing we can liken it to is a game engine. This is literally a game going from one engine to the next, really, the way this game was configured. So I certainly don't think it's going to hurt it. I think it's going to help it in a lot of areas. But for those that, think this game is going to immediately compete with Madden, based on, an engine upgrade, if you will, I don't think that's going to happen. But for the people that enjoy the game, I think they're going to see a lot in terms of frame rates, replays, and movement being improved. I have no idea how far down I am, but I have a feeling it's pretty far down. Matt Patton, do you think they will ever have a community share? I hope so, but no, I don't. I think the legalities of that are just way too much. It certainly would be nice because it's, creating these logos today. I learned all too well. It is a time investment. But, if you're willing to put in the time, the tools are there to help you do whatever you need to do. Maryland Blue Crabs. Yeah, well, I've got the canal right beside me here. I don't know if I'm going to be eating anything out of our water anytime soon. But yes, they are a delicious crustacean if you are hungry and to eat seafood. Is there any chance countries outside of the USA? Golden Warrior, I kind of discussed that already. I want to thank you for your content for Madden 20. Well, listen, Lawrence, I appreciate that. Obviously, it's never my goal or objective to get you guys to buy or not to buy a game, but I understand that you guys value my opinion on both, and it can certainly influence your opinion, so I appreciate that. I do not hope EA goes out of business. At this point, I wouldn't want to see anything have any other problems. Eagles to the grave. Yes, I agree with you. The XFL was on track to win big. Kyle, what do I think the new 2K football game will be like? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what they're going for. And hopefully we'll get some clarity with that. It seems to be, if nothing else, that they have the capacity to put a game out that would play better football than Madden and not specifically call it simulation. So if it's anything like what we've had before, I'm sure it's going to be a good game. So I do not have the Rona, but I appreciate your asking and wanting me to feel better. Matt, yeah, I was referring to Maximum Football. I don't think community rosters and logos are going to be something that happens. I am a Colts fan originally. I've been a Colts fan, generational Colts fan. My grandfather was a Colts fan. My father was a Colts fan, and I followed that. I don't have any kids, but I bet these cats watch enough Colts game that they're Colts fans. So I think that'll work out. Joshua, thank you for everything you guys do over at Maximum and Canuck. I'm getting caught up on the comments, so that's a good thing. I appreciate you guys coming out and helping me, and obviously the game keys for tonight. I know the community is going to appreciate them. Nirvana Junkie, great band. Ignorant question, but how can you program a game to have adaptive AI rather than animation? That's probably a question for Joshua. I guess as gamers, we know when we see it. We know what multiple animations look like. We've seen, I've, worked with back in 505 and those guys, and getting players that had logic programmed in them to, extend the ball, to know where the first down is. And I think that's the big step. It's not so much adaptive AI, it's just having players coded with understanding of the game. They're very simplistic things, but they're very difficult to program. But we do know it's possible. We've seen it in games. We understand that logic does exist. We've just yet to see it out of EA. Do you think EA will improve its presentation? Rest in peace, Kobe. And yes, rest in peace, Kobe, please. I wonder if the loss of Kobe may get impacted by, this global tragedy we've been dealing with, because it's overwhelmed the news. I think for a short period of time, we saw so much about Kobe, and it seemed like a lot of it has gone, and that upsets me, especially with, I'm sure what he would have been doing during these times to help reach out to the community. So I guess just a little diatribe there, that it's not good to see some things get so quickly forgotten by many, even though I'm sure the few that have held on to those memories always will. But just kind of a little strange thing with Kobe being so close to this. EA, will they improve their presentation? Absolutely. I mean, sometimes that's all EA does improve is their presentation. So, I've certainly come to expect that from them. Golden Warrior game would have been amazing for the XFL. Yeah, I mean, this could have done great things for the game and the league. Obviously would have probably put the game out to a bunch of people that may not have otherwise found it. How much a video game can impact a league, I don't really know, but it certainly can't do harm to have people, experience, a video game and get to know the players, get to know the league, get to know the structure. So I also think one thing that we overlook is all the rule changes that were in the XFL and how they could have really created truly a special video game experience that we really wouldn't have had before, especially the kickoffs. I mean, there really could have been some fun football game moments that were captured by that league. Geraldo Del Cruz III, if maximum graphics at least get to Madden 06, Madden 07, here's the thing. I really feel like this game is there. The smoothness of the graphics may not have it there, but the player models and the detail, I see it at that Madden 06, Madden 07, if not higher than that level. There may not be the variety. There may not be the player faces. There may not be some of the intricacies, but overall, there's enough here in many cases to surpass that. I think someone put up a comment, and somebody may have to go back to my Twitter. Someone put up a comment that the game looked like it was from 1998. And I actually put up a Game Day 98 still image. And from the lighting to the shading to the shadows to the field depth to the perception, it's just so far beyond what people expected or joke that it is. Will EA call Madden? What will EA call Madden? Oh, well, because Madden 25 has already came out. I don't know. Maybe they'll call it Madden 35. I mean, they really put themselves in a box with it that year. But having went to EA that year, I do know, and it's funny. I distinctly remember sitting in the presentation room there, and we're watching I'm actually literally closing my eyes to visualize the moment. We're all sitting in the room together, and we're about to watch the trailer. And I remember as it started to play and it went through everything, I was like, wow, this is the football game that we wanted for so long. They talked about the player movements and the AI and all the calculations and the footwork. And I was like, how crazy is this? The year that they come down here, it's not going to be a year in sequence. and it looks like it's the game that I've wanted all along. And then obviously, within 4 or 5 months, we realized that maybe they were trending in the right direction at that point, but the game certainly had not gotten to where we wanted it to be. And I would say, if anything has regressed since then. And why that is, I don't know. You guys that are agreeing with me, I am 10 minutes behind on these chats, so I don't know. I don't know what you're agreeing to. Anthony Shepard, shout out to your son if he just turned 19 today. I hope that he has a great rest of his birthday here. There's only a couple hours left. I wish there were some sports for him to watch. But, maybe you guys can dust off a few old games together, relive some memories. How do I feel about the Colts draft, Danny? I don't know, man. It's so weird. I feel like they took the best players available, but I also feel like I'm kind of stuck now when I show Madden's draft logic. You've got, a starting running back in Marlon Mack. You've got serviceable backups, and then you go and draft 2 more, running backs. So I understand best player on the board, but at some point you also have to look at what you need. And if what you need isn't there, you have to say, let's try to trade out. And maybe they did, who knows. But definitely set up for a committee backfield this year. Maybe fantasy fans will really hate the Colts because I don't think you'll ever be able to get the right players. Thank you, Kara's Up, for the support. Jonathan, I don't know exactly what NFL Street you were commenting about or why. You named your son Madden. Well, he probably would hate my channel. Can I get a copy and paste like Madden 11? Yeah, I mean, Madden is the king of copy and paste, right? So I guess if anything, that's what we would expect. Do you think 2K will eventually get a shot at being simulation? Here's the thing with that. I don't think the past 10 years for us as gamers have been literally awful. I don't think any company needs exclusivity again. I don't ever want to go through this. Whether it's 2K, EA, Sony, I don't care. I don't ever want to see this happen again to any gaming community. I guess the only thing worse could be like the boxing fans community, right, where there is no game. But whatever 2K is going to do, let 2K do it. Let's accept it for what it is. Let's hope they can progress and move forward with our wishes. And if they can't because they're stuck in a role-playing game or an arcade game or whatever it is, then if nothing else, I guess we can only be happy that we have a game. And I would say if they offer even the level of customization that Maximum Football does here, then we would be in really good shape. So, let me take a look at where I am. Thank you for that very weird comment, Josh. Are the music speakers better in Maximum and Madden? I'm not sure what you mean there, Roller Coaster. Hello, Antonio. Because in Madden, it sounds so bad. Oh, I think you mean like in the stadium. I don't know why they do that. I think they try to create depth of field with that. Chris Carter said, let's get playing at 9:09, and I just got to that comment. Joshua's laying some facts out about the game. D-Hub, how come I don't talk about Access Football? Access is not on PS4, and, I'm really not a PC gamer. I actually didn't do a lot with Maximum Football because I knew once Access came out, you've got to keep up the content, right, to not be biased. So now you're talking about, 3 Access videos, 3 Maximum videos, and 3 Madden videos in a week. There's 1.5 a day minimum. Once Access committed to not coming out on PS4 by no fault of their own, it kind of opened the floodgates for Maximum to just, be used a lot. So I was kind of waiting for some finality for Access, but that's why I don't talk about it. I don't have an Xbox console. If I did, things would be different. Will Madden ever rebuild from the ground up, Brian? Probably not. Just too much involved, and they're making too much money. Yeti McFly, I pretty much talked about why the Colts drafted a running back, Kyle R. I guess I sound like a lot of people apparently, more than just Ben Shapiro. Cheese Up, do you think the problem with EA is laziness, lack of leadership? To be honest with you, I've talked about this a couple times. I think EA's issue is it's an entry-level company, okay? And they bring in people fresh out of college to work on a game to build a resume. They bring a lot of people in from our community that don't have, any, accredited gaming skills, or would be the first game they worked on. And let me just say, there's nothing wrong with that. But, when you bring in guys like Moonlight Swami, right, who would be great for the game, but have never worked on a game. When you bring in guys like Clint Oldenburg, who are great for the game, former NFL player, but have never worked on a game. You put them in, gameplay designer situations where they then have to express to programmers how to make a game better. That's a difficult spot. How do you, in any form of life, in a way that they may not always understand, to create a better product? That's a tough ask. I don't care if we're making scissors or a video game. So I think that's probably a big part of it. It's just, you have an entry-level company that's bringing people in to build a resume that want to go on to other companies and do other things. And in turn, it's dragging the game down. So moving forward here, a sports game based on animations rather than user control is bad in any sports game. I would agree. I've talked about the 2K game and my expectations. Do I think Madden 11 is more realistic than Madden 20? It's been a while since I played Madden 11, but like I said, I feel like the games have regressed so much. Has Canuck Play gained any people or more staff working on it? I'm hoping that was directed to Joshua, because he answers yes, too. So we're finally getting caught up. I'm at 9:13, so I'm only 5 minutes behind. Yes, I will get the gameplay by 9:30, I promise. I went over the draft before name and likeness. Are the field goals scripted? In this game, no. Somebody retracted a comment. Procrastinator Sports just got the game. All right, I'm making... Who's my second favorite team? I don't know if I have a second. Maybe the Bills, probably. I've went to a lot of Bills games, so... Also, I'm in Maryland, so I don't really think of D.C. as a different state, so I've always, wanted the Redskins to do well. I did mean to skip you, Little Red Roses. If I did, there's just a ton of comments to search through. There's 276 of them, as a matter of fact. Good morning from Germany, Chris. We've talked about Maximum Football going internationally. I only have these two teams here, Blackjack. That's why it's just the Defenders and the Battlehawks. Will there ever be a new Fever game? Probably not. I don't think there's a market for those games. Anybody that wants to play, an arcade-based football game, I'd recommend Mutant League Football. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. I used to do videos on it, and it just wasn't received well. I don't do live streams a lot, Max, because the quality is bad. My internet is not good, so we'll see that bitrate dump when we go into the gameplay. Madden 21 should have an NCAA mode. We definitely need a football game. I'm finally caught up, guys, just so you know. Oh, my God. Took forever. There should be a game that has college and pro in it. And I think if they did, it would really have a great world and an environment. And whether or not you could play on the pro or college side, or even if you had to, I think it would really provide great depth. I thought about it the other day. Imagine if you could do that. Granted, online play would be near improbable. You'd have a full pro league and a full college league. But it would be really nice if you were in a pro team setting to be able to go back and watch and see college games of the players you're going to draft and have them in their own world of college football. And then as a college coach, run through all the college and then watch those players advance and go on to the pros. It would be a major ask, but it would be phenomenal in terms of depth, if not too overbearing for a football game to do. Can we talk about the bug that gives your opponent a touchdown if they get intercepted in the end zone? I don't know which game you're talking about there. If I lost my track on this thing, I'm just going to give up. I might have. I don't have time to explain the correct way to eat a Maryland brew crab. Probably, Melvin, the best thing I would tell you to do is just, spend the extra money and buy the lump crab meat out of the box, and you'll be okay. Did you say Fever was arcade? Yes, I did. Somebody's asking me about the situation with Superstar Games. Joe Montana Football is off the marketplace now, so I don't believe they're doing anything with that. They did continue to do things, so we'll have to see what happens. They say they don't have drive space in Madden. Well, Chris, that excuse is going away very shortly. That's all there is to it. All the excuses that EA has will be gone relatively shortly. So if anybody else has any questions, maybe another 5 minutes of this, and then we'll get into some gameplay. I think someone else donated while I was going through all that. No, Cali Kid was the last one, so thankfully I didn't miss anybody there. All right, where do I think Cam Newton will go? I mean, I'm not sure. New England? Where else would, where else? I think Cam Newton has to go to a place where he can win, in a place that at the end of his career, which is essentially what we're looking at, is going to give him stability and a decent line, and can really help him in the ways that Carolina couldn't. So I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't end up in New England. Does 2K deciding to re-enter the market was a legitimate request by the NFL? I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, obviously, I think the good thing about this is 2K looked at the football gaming landscape and said, hey, there's money to be made here, which is what I've always learned that they've needed to do to re-enter the marketplace. So, whether that was because of games like Maximum here or Access Football, where they saw, listen, there's an interest in the game, and I think that obviously comes from this community in a big way. So it's good that they entered the marketplace. So I would say, if nothing else, there's a positive there. The XFL is done, but not for tonight. We're gonna resurrect them. What do you predict? What do you predict for the Colts this season? Mediocrity, I don't know. I'm not a big Phillip Rivers fan, so the tough years that we've had were offset by some of the greatest years any fan could ever have. And I said to myself when they won the Super Bowl that as a fan, I didn't have the right to be upset anymore about a season going the wrong way, because I know people will live their entire life and never see their team win a Super Bowl. And once that happened to me, where I can say I saw the Colts win a Super Bowl, that I didn't have the right to complain. No matter how bad things got, I still saw them, be the best team in the NFL. So that was a big thing for me. So whatever happens, happens. I don't live and die with them the way I used to. As far as I'm concerned, we've been to the plateau, and everything else can be on the way down as far as I'm concerned. Now I'm trying to back up a little bit. As soon as I go to start reading one, just continued comments, just move it. Where are you going to play, Ryan? Well, when am I going to play? 5 minutes, I would say. I had more fun watching the XFL than the NFL. I would agree, Sammy, like we talked about earlier, if you weren't here, really had a lot of enjoyable moments with the XFL. I do a lot of XFL breakdowns on my Patreon, as a matter of fact. Realistic expectations for franchise improvements in Madden 21. Realistically, wouldn't expect much. They haven't done much with that franchise beside new, video screens in the background and vignettes. So, I mean, maybe they can build upon what's there by putting in some more text, but unfortunately, I think that's about all we're going to get. How are field goals scripted in Madden through animations? Click play, bro. I will, I promise. All right, I think we're good. I think I've answered every... well, there you go, Ward Daddy 60. What happened to IMV and Gridiron Champions? I don't know. I really don't know. I actually reached out to him about a week ago, and I said I wanted to make an update for what was going on, and they didn't get back to me. So I hope for the best. I know they're dealing right now with image. Obviously they've got people that are attacking them, and they feel the need to defend that before they move more forward with the game, which I understand to a degree. Obviously, if you have somebody out there slandering you, then you need to address that first, because that impacts how every vendor or customer you have looks at you. I do want to mention, though, that one of the things Maximum Football did an incredible job at is going out and getting some great partners. And in fact, they have some partners that were aligned, like Phenom Elite, with that whole Gridiron Champions project. So, all right, rapid fire, last couple questions, and we'll get to some gameplay. My favorite XFL team, Washington Defenders, of course. Who else? Do I think Lamar Jackson will be good this year? No, I think he'll be great. I think I think last year, we saw what he's capable of. I think he's going to continue to play at the highest of high levels, and I cannot wait to get back to a football game and see him in person. If I was a Madden dev, what would I do? Probably fire myself, because, I'm not a game developer. I don't belong there. I can give them feedback, but what they do with it is up to them. Any chance of the XFL in the future? We've pretty much already discussed that. Thank you again for Anonymous for a $5 donation. What happened to Backbreaker? Backbreaker 2, I did a video on that. Somebody could probably put that in the comment section. Backbreaker 2 is ready to go. The game was done. It was creative differences between the people who worked on the game and ultimately broke it apart. But I loved Backbreaker. Always have a place in my heart. First gaming company to basically have Microsoft like hijack my Xbox so that I could get game updates, and it was good times. Shorter times than they should have been, but it was good. I think I lost my stream for a minute. Anyone that got scammed by Gridiron Champions, I would reach out to them. I know that wasn't their intention. Do I have faith in this game? Absolutely. I have all the faith in the world in any football game and listening to the community and making the best product possible. I'm sorry to hear that you lost your neighbor, Hurricane. I do not dislike Charles Davis and Brendan Gaulden in Madden. They are very repetitive, though. All right, I'm done. There we go. At least we got over 200 people in here. So I said 9:30. We'll start at 9:28. I think my controller was connected after all that time. Let me make sure my speakers are turned down here. Super professional. Here, so I can show you, because I mentioned it before. You do have your ability to go and intercept a pass. It's just very hard to do so. I can kind of see your guys' comments here. It is 8:30 where you are. It is 9:30 here. So we'll just do... let's see if we can't get the exploit in the replay. Would be nice. Such a delay from what I see to what you guys see. Maxine, I don't talk about Access Football because it's not on PS4. If it was, I would definitely be talking about it. I live in Maryland. Merch, I've got something coming down the pike for you guys. So, that's all I'll say. So, I did mention earlier, I did go in and customize some rosters here, very slightly. Let's see if I can get the, there we go. Look, there's exactly what I wanted to see, actually. So this replay glitch is hopefully something that can be fixed. Oh boy. Oh boy. Can hopefully be fixed in going to next year with the move up in console, or the move up in engines. It should be able to resolve this. Because this is one thing that really hurts in terms of making replays and breakdowns in this game is you have this, where just the game seems to not be able to render things properly. I think it has like a memory dump. And then you have scenarios like that where, the player just kind of shifts and melts into the ground. So this is one thing I know for me is big in terms of getting fixed, because if I wanted to do a breakdown on that play, I can't do it. So hopefully that's something that they work on. I really would like to see that fixed. So here's a good play here. We've got no one back deep, so we'll go ahead and audible our receiver there. Actually, we'll just see if we can't get that bingo and see if we can't throw deep to that receiver real quick if I have time. One thing this game does really good is zero time in the pocket. And as you can see, zero time in the pocket. So I did try to throw it with Cardell, I promise. Trying to hit replay really quick. Sometimes you get replays and sometimes you don't. What do I think about sports games without attributes? I mean, I think they can be interesting and intriguing, but I don't know how much I would like that for the only thing to have. What are your top 5 must-haves for this game to consider next year? Like I said, number 1 is fix the replay system. Number 2 would probably be to improve the smoothness of the game. 3 would be to resolve some of the crashing, especially in logo creation. I ran into that today. Spent a lot of time working on something, and then it's just all of a sudden gone. And I would also say they probably need to really improve the depth in terms of what the candidates have and some of the interface when you go through the dynasty mode and you're recruiting players. Sometimes you need to know when they're not going to sign with you. instead of just they're not there on your recruitment board anymore, and apparently they went to another team. So, those are something that I really need to see get fixed. So let's see if we can get a pass here to our O receiver. No, instead we almost get intercepted. How long will it take for 2K to take over? I don't know if they'll ever take over, to be honest. At least they're in a position to make a game. If nothing else, understand, no matter what you think about any of these games, or whether you appreciate what they have to offer or not, every one of these games is capable of showing the community what they need and what we want, negatives and positives, and they can all build off each other. So, while you may think this game looks awful, it may show some that we do need a game with physics. We do need a game with customization. We do need a logo editor. So, there's always going to be a positive just about any game has. Just like with Madden, presentation is a big positive. And obviously seeing, things like facial scans and commentary updates and all those things and how much they can bring mean a lot. So we're in another position here where we'll try to throw before we get sacked. Maximum Football is not here to be a competitor with Madden. They're actually trying to create a totally different game. Well, that went well. So we'll go back, we'll take a look at that. Probably not, now that I hit the wrong button. It'll maybe happen again. Sometimes when you get a touchdown in this game, you can't always see the replay, which is, add that to the list of things that need to be fixed. How is it going to be possible for Maximum Football to make a simulation football game if EA is the only company? And now the comments are going way too fast. I don't think simulation football is trademarked by anyone, so I think we would be okay. Are you happy with the player models? Here, I think the player models will look a lot better once they put that engine up. As far as, the player models themselves, this is only, I think, the first year with them, so whether we like them or not, they're going to stay. Maximum Football, again, 2K, EA, dark, demonic, it doesn't really matter. People are going to play what they want to play, and, if 2K doesn't give an in-depth game or a product that meets our requirements, it may not even affect Maximum Football at all. No one should boycott Madden. Do not do that. If you like the game, play the game. If you don't, then don't. Oh, look at that. Went right back. So, at least in this play, you get to see good pursuit out of the linebackers. I think, if the play's going to start. Oh, it's really going to make me sit there through that whole time, huh? You guys will love watching this in real time. We're just stalemated. I hope so. I hope it's eventually going to play. I'm amazed that it recorded for that long. I'm only going to give it another minute and then I'll back out. Okay, apparently it's not going to let me see that replay. I have a feeling it was just holding space from where we were before. Well, that will be a much better one. So, when you take a look at what happens here, especially, contrasting Madden, running off here and getting this close to alignment, a lot of times in Madden or in other football games for that matter, you will kind of get pulled into that interaction. So we talk about having, freedom of movement and players running. That's exactly what we're talking about. Secondarily, you're going to have to ignore those players that are stuck because it's a replay issue. But again, you take a look at some good things here. You've got my wide receiver that comes out, runs his route, and then immediately turns up the block. Maybe the defensive back could react better in a situation like that when it's a run play, but you also have the pursuit here of the other players, and the numbers kind of have to be ignored here, that do a great job at getting down, and hitting the player out of bounds. And again, we still have to work on some bone structure of these players when they get hit. But overall, to go back from the beginning, this to me, if you clean this up and you refine this a lot and you make this animationally look better, a lot of the fundamentals there are solid, even if you can't see the complete play because of the replay issue. So we'll try to run that play back again. I have completely lost you guys in the comment section. We'll go back and look at that replay. And again, when you look at this replay issue, again, this is a great read by the defensive end to come in the backfield and stop the ball carrier. But unfortunately, the way this game is currently structured with the memory allocation, it's almost like the game doesn't recognize what's happening. So you have like great moments like that kind of get ruined. But at the same time, you can't be too mad because you get some really great animations of players just melting in the field. But I can't tell you guys how many plays I've wanted to do breakdowns on that I can't because things like that have happened. So here's another scenario where it looks like they're going to basically just do everything they can to blitz. We'll audible out here and see if I can't get just enough time in the pocket to throw a deep pass. Great job at picking up that defender, and we get a defended pass. So that's actually really good in terms of what you see here from picking up the block. One of the things that other games have really kind of struggled with is the ability, just basically the logic of this, setting that pocket and turning back. A lot of times you'll have a player just stand there from the beginning and not go back and try to block. And you might want to see a little bit less of a shift here when that happens. But to be honest with you, all things considered, I think those are things that can be smoothed out. We talked about interpolation here. I know we joke about it all the time, but, this right here is probably something that isn't interpolation and has to be fixed. But, from a pocket standpoint, if you look at where we are in terms of the shape of this pocket being formed, up until when that blitzer comes through, there's a decent pocket shape there. As far as getting this pass out, to our best receiver. Probably could do a better job on these animations, especially if the defensive back is going to jam the receiver. I definitely don't like that speed right there, the little speed burst that we saw. But as far as getting himself in position to defend the pass, I don't know if it would have happened if not for that speed burst. So it's kind of something that they have to work on. I love everyone that says this game is trash. I think that's fantastic. Because when you say this game is trash, as soon as it does anything better than Madden, what have you said about Madden? Or what have you said about 2K? So, like I said, all that stuff really brings a smile to my face. I think that's fantastic. We all know that, no game is where we want it to be at the end of the day. So, that's all there is to it. I have finally caught up. I love how Thomas just keeps spamming the gameplay is trash. I feel so useless on defense in this game. Yeah, that's something that I talked about in a prior video. I agree with you. I do feel as if I don't have the control that I need in this game. Where is Maximum Football's Jumbotron with Jumbotron on it? Yeah, exactly. It actually doesn't exist. But hey, I guess that's something EA does better. I mean, they do have that Jumbotron verbiage. So, again, we're going to have another replay that gets messed up here because of the memory, but as far as next level blocking and going out to pick up linebackers, this is just not something that we're coming down here. There probably should be much better logic in terms of number 56 determining to not go out, even if he is slower, and try to pick up second level rather than turn around like that. But there are times this game really does well with second level blocks. One of the things that does need to be fixed is this go route. We'll run it a couple times. So this route right here, just about every time, is going to get you a touchdown. And I don't know how they fix it, is the thing. I know that, when you have a safety come over, you can get a pass defended, but we'll run it a couple times here, and we'll just see the success rate of this getting a touchdown. And you'll probably see more often than not. Do you think the offensive line moves too fast, like on that run play? I think game speed is a big problem. especially when it comes to playing quarterback. Because in reality, you only have a couple seconds to throw the ball in real life, but we're not NFL quarterbacks. So when you come to the conclusion that you can't read a coverage in 5 seconds, what are you saying about the game and realism? You know, does the average person not need 8 to 10 seconds properly to go through a progression and read? Probably. So to me, when you talk about the offensive line moving too fast, I think it all comes down to setting that expectation of what you want in the pocket. And to me, I've never thought it's realistic to show someone 5 seconds in the pocket to read through a whole defense, run your receivers' routes, and try to determine who's open. That's just a big ask. There's a reason we're not NFL quarterbacks, and a big part of it is we can't read a defense that quickly and assess who is open and when to throw it and what the timing is. And apart from that, no game really has the intangibles rather to make that work, like the chemistry. So, you take a look at some of the better quarterback combinations, whether you want to talk about, Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison or even, what Randy Moss did with Dante Culpepper or Tom Brady. So much of it is chemistry. So much of it is timing. And no game has that timing right, where on the third step of your drop or the fifth step of your drop, if you release the ball, you have a chemistry with a receiver where they're going to go catch it. And that's, imperative in a football game. So when you talk about trying to create that chemistry and, it revolves around the time in the pocket, a 3-step drop, release the ball, a 5-step drop, release the ball. That's 1 to 2 seconds. Those are things that are difficult to deal with. And, as far as the pocket movement, I think that's a big thing. That safety did a great job at coming over again, but just way too late. I would also say, again, you have to remember this game is really only in its early stages. If you go back and look at where it is in making leaps from one year to the next to other games, it's really doing in one cycle what other games do in 5. I think one of the most important things that this game does, and I did a whole video on it, is when receivers are done their route, especially on curls, they extend the route. That's one of the most simplistic things that you get taught in football, and yet, Madden has never gotten that right. 2K really consistently never got that right. So it's those little subtle things that once the game gets to a point where, we're all happy with it, that's one less thing that we have to ask for. So that actually was a really good read in terms of his own defense. As Lee comes off here, makes the cut, this corner here is going to come down and cut under this pass. And you generally don't see a defense react like that. That's pretty much textbook as you would want to read it. He might lay on the route a little bit too much, and certainly it still gets caught somehow. But again, hopefully these are things next year that the replays get sorted out, but couldn't transfer it into a tackle, which is kind of a good thing. Never want to see players do more than one thing. You're either going to go for the interception, go for the deflection, or tackle the player. You're not going to do all three. I think we fought that with a lot of video games. So we'll run a couple more here. Hopefully not get melted like that. And then I do have, if you guys want to get ready at the end of this or, within the next 5 or so minutes, I'm going to have a game key for both the PS4 and the Xbox One. Appreciate Joshua and everybody over at Canuck Play letting me give those away to you guys. And whether you get the game and hate it or love it, you can always provide feedback to these guys, and they're going to do the best they can to make the game better. And, for those that dislike the game, fantastic. Make a list, email it over to them, and see what they can do to make it better for you. Did not run that route well. There is a constant argument in the chat about the gameplay being trash. I would revisit my Madden 20 streams that I did when the game released. Safety's going to make it that time. No, actually he didn't. And that would be a really good one Thankfully, the replay didn't get jammed there. But this would be another really good one to talk about reactions with. This animation here has to be cleaned up. I appreciate the fact right here that you have the jam, okay? I really like the fact that you've got your hand up on the shoulder of the wide receiver. But even once they turn and you explode and break away, that animation has to be cleaner. This whole safety coming over here, you really shouldn't have this pass completed. It's almost as if the safety should be in the same animation that the corner was as far as getting his hand up. And a lot of times I see this way too often in the game where I don't know if it's because the pass is completed or what the situation is, but the defender will just kind of go prone like that. So he's coming over, and then all of a sudden he gets to this point. What is this point? Why is his hand not extended to break up this pass? Because that's all that would be needed to tip it and it not be a touchdown. And instead, like we talked about before, you kind of get these scenarios where you have a player that is open, but you're throwing not into coverage at this point, but that safety should be coming over. It's a great angle. It's just he doesn't make the play. And more often than not, it's frustrating to not see a player make the play after they put themselves in position to do it because he comes from, center field practically. This is the logic this game has in place. So, to show you, he is going to react, and I did a video on this as well. He's reacting to this receiver being open right now. Okay, so he's made up all that ground. You come back here, I've just released the ball. So as I'm throwing this pass, I'm looking at how far away he is. He's anticipating the ball is going to go to the open receiver. I should have thrown the ball sooner. So if you're going to have the logic that this safety not only knows how to react and where to run to, it's almost heartbreaking whether you're on offense or defense to see that reaction not turn into a pass defense. So, with that said, maybe Thomas can get the game since he is the aficionado of horrible football gameplay. Let me go ahead. I'll give you guys just a minute or two to prepare. And I will verbatim these codes out to you. And I will probably do my best to not cross words. Probably just be better to read them phonetically. So, one person tell me they're ready in the comment section, and I will read I will go ahead and read off the codes. We'll start with the PlayStation copy, since that's what I'm on. All right, Simeon Washington is ready. So, also, if you guys could, let me know who got the copy. Whether you want to tweet me or Maximum Football, that would be fantastic. I'm sure they would appreciate it, as would I. So, your PlayStation 4 copy key: King, Paul, Queen, George, X-Ray, Harold, Nancy, Boy, Nancy, Queen, 5, Nancy. So we'll wait and see if anyone got the key. And then we will go ahead and give the Xbox copy away. So if somebody can let me know in the chat if they got the game, and if you would be so kind as to maybe go over to Twitter and let them know that you got the game from the stream tonight, I would appreciate it. Also, just take an extra minute here to appreciate everybody that donated this evening. Obviously, also really means a lot that YouTube and Google are going to match those donations, and gave other channels the opportunity outside of the 100,000 subscribers to take advantage of these opportunities to help everyone, with gaming. I think that's the most important thing, is that we have that opportunity with each other to, take something as simple and whimsical kind of as a video game and really make some changes in people's lives as they need it. I've yet to see a winner. Yes, the money is going to COVID, Thomas. Okay, Thomas claims that he got the key. Very well. I'm imagining someone is going to redeem it immediately. Now there's a debate over who got the key. Darriman claims that he got the game. He's now explaining why he feels like it's improbable that he could have. I would agree. I don't believe Thomas got the game. All right. All I need is one person to say they're ready for the Xbox key. Now everyone is claiming they got the game. All right. There's at least 3 of you that are going to be going after it. Takes me just a minute to get the key up here. All right. Xbox key. Paul, 4, 7, David, 6, 9, 2, 9, 7, Yellow, 6, 9, Harold, 7, William, Charles, 2, Victor, 9, Jack, X-Ray, George, Charles, 2, Zebra. Dramatic pause at the end. Again, thank Canuck Play for giving those game keys to you guys. Whoever got them, would appreciate if you shared it with them. And again, thank you guys for all coming out to the stream. I think we maybe had a max of like 225 in here. I'm glad we got to do a little Q&A and give those games away. I'm sure no one was typing the exact words out, but with those things, you have to go phonetic. If not, nobody's going to get it. Thomas has been put in a timeout. So we have 5 more minutes here. Thomas free of his spamming. Did someone get the Xbox code? I'm waiting. Patiently waiting. And just for the record, I did think about putting one letter wrong just to screw with you guys, but I didn't want to be that guy. Backbreaker 2, as I said earlier in the stream, Backbreaker 2 was ready to go. Just unfortunately creative differences there amongst the development team, but you know, it was done. It had the sorry if you guys heard that, it hit my mic. It had the camera mode that you wanted, unfortunately. And you know, sometimes those things happen. Ironically enough, when I went to EA, we went out to like a communal dinner, and there was people that had worked on Backbreaker there that were also at EA, completely inadvertently, and they didn't believe that I was who I was until I showed them my license, because this is my government name, as many people would say. Yeah, no, it stinks, Keenan. I agree. Certainly, I think if that game would have listened to the community more, probably would be in a lot better position to possibly still be around. But at the end of the day, you know, the important thing also is that as a company, they had a vision, they stuck to it, and even though they didn't find success with it, they were committed to their vision. So, you know, there's humility in that. You know, a lot of gaming companies, I think, wilt far too often to the community. For example, think back to the passing window that Madden had. You know, 1 year of that passing window in complaints from the community, and they were done. And that's probably not the way it should be. You know, if you want a true challenge, and modify them a little bit when the community doesn't agree with them or like them, but to remove them altogether, you know, it just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. It seems like you're more catering to the community than trying to improve your game. You know, I think since we'd mentioned Access Football a lot in the stream, you know, Access Football has a passing window that's very similar to Madden. And if you've played that game, you know it presents a unique challenge. And obviously, you know, can really help separate good players and bad players, even if you're going to play online against each other. So I don't know if anyone got the Xbox code, but I do know if you didn't, these streams usually go right back up. Anybody that did not donate live tonight, again, appreciate everyone that did. I believe the relief stream button will stay there for eternity because I won't remove it from this video. So with that said, you guys should know by now, I appreciate you checking this out. I'll be back next week. I'll be back tomorrow with more commentary. Don't worry about that. And well, I guess next week would technically be tomorrow since it is a Sunday. And then obviously, probably, maybe I'll put a video up within the next 30 or 40 minutes. That way you guys... Wait a second. Did Latrell, do you mean it? Does it say that the code says not found? The code not being found could mean that it's already been redeemed. But just for you, I will go back and read the Xbox code one more time. Since no one, if you saw that you got it, I didn't see it. So, Xbox One code. Take 2. Paul 4 7 David 6 9 2 9 7 Y 6 9 Harold 7 William Charles 2 Victor 9 Jet X-Ray George Charles 2 Zebra. Now I'm going to have to listen to my own stream to see if I actually said the same thing both times. For some reason I feel like I may have let off the G the first time. And now I can't see the comments in my own stream. So we're batting 1,000 on that. I've also got 1,000 things open on my phone, guys. All right. Well, can somebody type if that did access the game or not? Well, now Legion Flyer says he got the code. So, all things considered, I will go ahead and probably get a Madden breakdown up within the next 30 to 45 minutes. Again, appreciate you guys for coming out. Thank you all the support. Thanks to Connect Play for giving away the game keys. Let them know that you appreciate the game as well if you got it, and you guys should know by now. I will be back very shortly with more commentary.